Hey everybody, it's Tracy Hamlin reminding you to join us every Monday night for an entire hour. We are chatting it up with some amazingly phenomenal recording artists that you need to know about, as well as some incredible and inspiring small business owners from my area that you need to know about. So join us for an entire hour every Monday night. Leave a comment on my social media. Let me know who you've enjoyed and who we need to have on the Tracy Hamlin Show. See you on Mondays and ooches of smooches.
Are you ready for the Tracy Hamlin Show? Are you ready for the Tracy Hamlin Show? When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. When that makes the tall grass bend to leaning, suddenly the raindrops fall, have a meaning, sprinkling the seed makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It would be nice to be back home where there's love and affection. Maybe I can convince time to slow up. It's given me enough time in my life to grow up. Time be my friend. Let me start again. Suddenly my world's gonna change its face. I know where I'm going. I've had my mind spun around in space, and I've watched it growing. And now if you're listening, God, don't make it hard to know we should believe the things we see. Tell us, should we try and stay or run away? Or is it better to let things be? Living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it's taught me to love, yeah. So it's real to me, and I've learned that we must look inside our hearts to find a world full of love, like yours, like mine, like Good evening and welcome to the Tracy Hamlin Show. I'm Tracy Hamlin, an international recording artist and owner of the Sweet Jazz Concert Series. The Sweet Jazz Concerts, we use music as a catalyst to give back to the community. My short song today was in tribute to the amazing Miss Stephanie Mills. I recorded that soulful house music version on my fourth album, which is also called Home, that was released back in 2013 and is still available on all digital platforms. So if you don't have it, check it out, check it out. The Tracy Hamlin Show is excited to be a platform for quality talent and fabulous small businesses that you need to know about. On today's show, I am so delighted to have percussionist extraordinaire Victor Provost. But first, we're going to kick things off with an amazing small business owner from a luxury bridal couture boutique in Herndon, Virginia. She's been featured in many, many major bridal magazines, and she is with us today. Hello and welcome, Miriam. How are you?
Hi, Tracy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you were singing Home. That's like one of my favorite songs.
That I'm so emotionally attached to that song. So glad you enjoyed it. But thank you so
Yeah,
much for being with us today.
my pleasure and honor. Thank you.
So, what is, for those that don't know, what is bridal couture?
So, bridal couture really is the definition of a dress that's really made to measure for a bride. So, it's not that you go in and you buy a dress that's mass produced. Couture dresses are truly made in an atelier. So, by hands, by people that really understand the artistry
Mhm.
of putting a dress together. So, that's what it means.
So, what was the inspiration behind you starting Soliloquy Bridal Couture?
Well, I think that the inspiration was I had worked in corporate America for 20 something years.
Mhm.
And it just dawned on me that it was now or never. I needed to do something for myself, that really was inspiring, that really gave back to me personally in a way that was very satisfying. And I
Mhm.
was 49 years old and I thought, it's now or never, never. I'm going to make this happen. And so I started the boutique.
And so, so again, what was your previous profession before you?
So, before I opened Soliloquy, my last job, I was division vice president for Knowledge Learning Corporation, which is early childhood education. So I
Mhm.
was in the management segment of that space, and it was a beautiful, wonderful career. I enjoyed it, but I felt like I had given all I could give at that time, and I really wanted to do something that was just fun and exciting and truly I love working with people one on one, and I was missing that by being a corporate executive. So it was just my way of trying to, be an entrepreneur. And I had watched my grandfather for many, many years be an entrepreneur. And I felt like it was in my blood and I just had to try it.
Well, you're doing it and you're doing it very well.
Well, thank
So,
you.
the name Soliloquy,
Mm.
inspiration.
Oh, soliloquy means a dramatic statement of unspoken expression.
Mhm.
And I really think that's what a bridal gown is. When a bride walks in, the first thing you think is, "Oh wow," or "I wonder why she picked that," or "Oh my gosh, that is so her." It is a statement.
Mhm.
And so we certainly looked at a lot of names, but I just kept coming back to that because that's what really resonated with me is that a bride's gown is her statement. It's a very important garment for her.
Yeah, absolutely. When you go to weddings, everybody is looking to see what is she wearing. You know,
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
awesome. So in your boutique, you've all of your dresses come from a particular designer. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so I am a flagship for Barbara Cathcart Couture. And Barbara and I have a long-standing relationship that began with her mother. When I opened up my boutique, her mother found me and asked me if I would consider carrying her dresses. And Eugenia Couture was a very well-known brand, in Kleinfelds and Beverly Hills and a lot of really interesting places. So I was really honored when she asked me to do it. And over time, I realized that my brides were gravitating
Mhm.
toward her gowns. And then about 4 years ago, her daughter took over the business and decided that, they wanted to try a flagship because with that, they're able to experiment. They're
Mhm.
able to ensure, that they have sales because I had a pretty strong following at that point. And so it was really the merging of two really strong brands that came together.
Mhm.
And together, we really are just kind of mapping out this kind of new approach to bridal where we can really do anything for a bride. They may come in and they'll see a pretty dress that they love within the boutique, but if they want a modification to it or they want a different fabric, those are things that we do for our brides. And we're so excited to be able to do that. We don't have to say no to anyone.
So I love that. So what's the turnaround if somebody comes in and they see a dress, but they have alterations or they want a different fabric or additional beading? What's the turnaround?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, our standard turnaround, we always say is about 4 to 7 months, depending on the complexity of the dress.
Mhm.
That's what we would love to have, but brides today aren't really doing that. So I would say the fastest turnaround I've done recently has
Mhm.
been about 7 weeks. That does come with a rush fee. So I don't encourage people to do that. But I mean, we certainly can do that because we are based in the United States.
Right.
And, the atelier is actually in Pennsylvania. So
Mhm.
we usually can respond pretty quickly.
Awesome. Well, we have lots more with Miriam Liggett when we come back. We're going to take a short break. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back for the Tracy Hamlin Show.
Are you a jazz lover? If so, have we got something special for you? Presenting Tracy Hamlin's Sweet Jazz Concerts. The first concert of 2022 is Sunday, May 1st, with saxophonist Paula Atherton and the songstress herself, Tracy Hamlin, at the River Creek Country Club in Leesburg, Virginia. Sunday, May 1st at 4 p.m. For more information and tickets, visit www.sweetjazzconcerts.com.
Sponsored by the Bank of Clark.
Every great song has its own kind of vibe, just like the streets they come from.
Now all that music from across America will go head to head
On one stage. Every state and territory will compete live for your votes.
in the biggest televised music event you've ever seen.
America's next great hit.
Could come from your hometown.
American Song Contest premieres live March 21st on NBC.
Hello and welcome to the ultimate music experience. Kalala Music
K Radio.
Hello and welcome to the ultimate music experience. Kalala Music Channel. It's Irie. You don't know it's your host. Cruise to the Rock and K Victoria, bringing the hottest music from around the world. This is the Irie World Music Countdown. Stoners! Whoa, it's your boy Cruise to the Rock. You know what time it is, man. Ayatollah.
Hey everybody, it's Tracy Hamlin inviting you to join us this Monday, March 14th. We'll be joined by a percussion player who specializes in Trinidadian steel pan. Yes, Victor Provost will be here. We'll also be joined by the owner of Soliloquy Bridal Couture Boutique. Miriam Liggett will be here too. Can't wait to see you on Monday for the Tracy Hamlin Show, presented by Our Music Channel on our TV network.
We about to blow. Give me more. Give me more. We got one life, so we not gon' waste it. Live a large life, the rich and the famous.
So nice, so nice. So nice, so nice. Virgin Islands nice. So nice.
Are you ready for the Tracy Hamlin Show? Are you ready for the Tracy Hamlin Show?
Tracy Hamlin. We are here with amazing business owner Miriam Liggett from Soliloquy Bridal Couture. And before we left off, I just love where the conversation was going. I just absolutely adore hearing everybody's story. So you're in the bridal industry. A lot of folks say that October is the new June for weddings. What is your busiest month?
You know, I will tell you that the seasonality certainly has been impacted by COVID. And I would definitely say that most of our brides in this area do get married, between, I would say, August and November. We do have quite a few that get married in May as well, late April and early May. July is just so hot, but when we are selling, our sales season begins around August and goes until around April or May. So, yeah, I mean, it really has changed a little bit with COVID because I think people really aren't sure what to do anymore. But as things ease up, I think we'll see that seasonality we're accustomed to return.
So are you seeing less weddings in June or just as many for the month?
So, June and May are, I think that people in this area particularly are busy with graduations and Mother's Day and Father's Day. So we don't see as many weddings as we would in those fall months. So, yeah.
So when you decided to start your business, how long did it take you from deciding you were going to do this to actually launching your business?
I probably had something in my mind for about 3 years before I actually quit my job. And, one day I just decided if I don't do it now, when will I do it? And I took a leap of faith, and just stepped out on faith and said, I am going to try something. And I certainly didn't have a bridal boutique in mind at first, but someone gave me some great advice to interview people about what they do. And I started doing just informational interviews with friends and family members just to kind of see, like, what do you like about your job? And then finally it hit me that there was something that was consistent in my life when I was traveling for my other career, that I would always buy bridal magazines at the airport. And it was just kind of funny. Like, I don't know. I mean, I would just love to look at the fashion. I thought, well, maybe that's it. So I actually took time and went to 16 stores in this area as a secret shopper, basically, to just find out if I was needed. And after doing that, I realized there was a place for me here, that there would be a gap I was filling, because I really believe you have to understand your competitive environment. And so once I realized that I could fill a gap, I just started to work on it. And it really only took me about 6 months to get everything going.
So that's a short amount of time. And I
Yeah.
mean, I love hearing the stories of small business owners, because I think that you really speak to so many people that really are considering stepping out on faith. So, and every time you hear the stories, each from week to week, people are saying it did not take that long. But it's,
Yeah.
the common denominator is you got to step out on faith and you got to take the chance.
Yeah. Yeah. The longevity comes with sustaining the business. You know what I mean? I think you can always get something off the ground if you have the resources and really the determination, because, when you're new, you're not afraid. You're like, you'll call anybody, you'll talk to anybody, because you really want to see this baby be birthed, right? And then afterwards, you have to realize, okay, now here's where the courage comes. Is as you're, several years in and the competitive landscape changes, how do you make sure you stay relevant from day to day?
Absolutely. And I know it's work. It's absolutely ongoing, just trying to consistently be creative and just staying ahead of the ball game when it comes to trends and fads. So when you were deciding to make this move, was there any particular person that inspired you?
I guess I have to go back to my grandfather, because he was a radio and television repairman in Madison, Georgia, in a time where, there were definitely Black businesses, but, generally white people didn't support them. And what I would watch is this man fixing these televisions for everybody in the city and the surrounding counties. And he did it with such professionalism and such grace and such honor. And he probably doesn't realize how I was watching him as a little girl. I would be sitting at his feet while he's tinkering with all these televisions. But I was very impressed with that. And I really came to appreciate that more as I got older, looking back on his journey and what he had to endure, in order to be what was at the time a very successful businessman and to make a way for his family. I would watch him, like if somebody, he was always kind, and he would say, well, if you can't pay me today, next week is fine. But if they didn't show up, he'd get in his truck and he'd go get his money, And so I really think about him all the time as I'm, trying sometimes when it's difficult in a small business to be courageous and understand that I have this in my blood and I can do this.
It's definitely in you. So what were some of your biggest challenges becoming a business owner?
My husband told me when I opened, he said, I want you to take classes at the SBA. And I'm like, why? He says, well, you've run this arm of this, multi-million-dollar company, actually billion-dollar company, because I had a billion-dollar arm of it, but you have not run a small business. And the small business means that you've got to do everything. You can't go to the marketing department. You can't go to HR. You are marketing. You are HR. And I did take the classes, and it really did open my eyes, because the first thing I learned was never apologize for being a luxury brand. And that has been hard over the years, because people do challenge you on your pricing. You have to do a lot of education when you are a luxury brand. But that was the first thing I learned in the first class I took for from the Small Business Administration. And I've never forgotten it. Although sometimes, I challenged myself and thought it certainly would be easier to have cheaper products, but I've stayed true to that desire to give brides something just very valuable and wonderful that they can treasure forever.
Yeah. And one of the things that my husband always tells me when I'm considering pricing for different products or events that I'm doing, he always says, get out of people's pockets. In somebody's pocket, and you don't know what they're willing to spend that money on.
Right.
So present your product, and you never know. And to piggyback on something that you said earlier, one of the things that as a recording artist, I'm always just being mindful. You talked about wearing all of these hats, and as a recording artist, I'm the record label, I'm the promoter, I'm the travel agent, and you have to be willing to put in the work and the time. And as I've continued to grow, help comes along, support comes along in all different shapes and sizes and forms. So it's been quite amazing.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I never thought I would miss all those conference calls and meetings with the different departments, but sometimes I really do.
Yeah, I just saw something in social media that said I left my 9-to-5 to start my own job, and now I'm working 24/7.
Right.
My own business.
You never stop. You never stop. But there is a joy in that, and I really can't deny it. It's joyful to know that it's yours, and that, it rises and falls on you. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of confidence in myself. And so I think you have to, as an entrepreneur, to say, I can do it. Even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, you find your way of just kind of re-energizing yourself and get back in there, remember your mission, remember your goals, and lean on that determination.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to even put yourself on a schedule. And it's important to exercise. It's important to meditate. It's important to pray. It's one of the things that I do at night. I have a to-do list, and even though I'm keeping a calendar, I have my to-do list on my phone, and before I go to sleep. So when I wake up, just to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. So time flies when you're having fun.
It?
I can't believe it. Can you share with everybody your website, your socials, so that folks can find you and get to you to get some of your amazing couture gowns?
Absolutely. So on social media, we're Soliloquy Bridal, and our website is www.soliloquybridal.com. And we're located in historic Herndon, Virginia.
Historic Herndon, Virginia. I have to come by and check out your show.
I would love you to.
I'm just be in La La Land. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to stop, share your story with us. I love when we have folks like you come by and you leave us with so many wonderful nuggets. So thank you. We wish you all the best. And we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with percussionist extraordinaire Victor Provost. We'll be right back.
Are you a jazz lover? If so, have we got something special for you? presenting Tracy Hamlin's Sweet Jazz Concerts. The first concert of 2022 is Sunday, May 1st, with saxophonist Paula Atherton and the songstress herself, Tracy Hamlin, at the River Creek Country Club in Leesburg, Virginia. Sunday, May 1st at 4 p.m. For more information and tickets, visit www.sweetjazzconcerts.com.
Sponsored by the Bank of Clark.
Drew on the key, so this not.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
to the Tracy Hamlin Show. I'm so excited about our next guest as well. He is a percussion player that specializes in Trinidadian steel panning. Hello, Victor, and welcome to the show.
How you doing, Tracy?
I am fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I've been watching your videos. I just love steel panning. So tell us, where are you from?
I'm from St. John, Virgin Islands, United States Virgin Islands.
I love. And how long have you been in the States? Well, the
the mainland.
Right.
Like 2000. So I left when I graduated from high school. I moved. My first move was to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I lived there for a few years. And I kind of jumped around and then settled here in the DC area in 2009.
So you left the beautiful Caribbean and warm weather and went to Pittsburgh, where you have real winters.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. exactly. I'm a glutton for punishment.
How did you adjust?
Poorly. And the first time I was walking, I went to the University of Pittsburgh. And I remember the first time I was walking to class and it started snowing, and it felt like a movie scene to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I had never seen snow. I definitely had never seen snow falling. So I was just kind of like, I just stood there, and everything is like falling in slow. See, like to people watching here in DC, that's not gonna sound impressive, but to me, it was like everything was in slow motion, and people were walking past me and looking at me like I was strange. But it was an amazing like experience, you know.
Yeah,
it was cool though.
Yeah, that's a great memory that will last a lifetime.
Oh, for sure.
So how old were you when you started playing percussion?
Technically, like my first instrument was the piano, which is technically a percussion instrument. And I started playing piano when I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old. My father would teach me how to play little songs just by like pressing down, show me what notes to press down. And then when I was 10 years old, I started playing an instrument called a steel pan. And I was taking piano lessons at the St. John School of the Arts, which is it's our after school program in St. John. St. John is a very small place. For those who aren't familiar, it's the kind of the smallest and the most isolated of the Virgin Islands. When I was growing up, the population, the full-time population living on the island was about 3,500 people. And so, you know, it's a very, very, very small place. And the St. John School of the Arts is kind of like our after-school community center where we went to take piano lessons and dance lessons and arts and all kinds of stuff. And they had a steel band, right? Full of like maybe there were 25 kids, middle school and high school age kids, and we used to meet there all the time, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 3 hours after school, and then we'd go out and gig on Saturdays and Sundays. It's how I spent my childhood, you know.
How old were you when you started gigging?
Right after I joined the band. They used to send us out to play at the resorts. We had, this was like the brainchild of a woman named Sis Frank, and our instructor was a fellow from Trinidad named Rudy Wells. He was a pioneer of this instrument. And so we would rehearse 3 times a week, and then on Saturday and Sunday we would have a gig somewhere. It might be in the ballpark, it might be like a public performance, or it might be for one of the resorts, for the tourists staying at one of the resorts. But it was basically like every weekend. And all year round, because it's 75, 80 degrees all year round.
So you really paid your dues and got out there early. So you're nice and seasoned.
We all did. There was 25 of us, and we ranged in age from maybe like 10 years old to 18 years old. And we, not only did we play locally in St. John, but we used the funds that were raised through those performances to travel. So like it's been so long, I'm gonna get the timeline wrong, but I think in 1993 we performed at Disney World, and we went to the Adirondacks in upstate New York and performed up there. And then in 1994 we went to Denmark and Germany. We toured toured Denmark and Germany. And then in 1995, we toured France and Switzerland.
What an experience.
So it's incredible.
I mean, to get out and do that so young. My first travel experience was actually to St. Croix, Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
When I was 15 years old, I won a pageant, and I was representing the state of Maryland, where I'm from, and I was a runner-up. And the winner that year was Christelle Henderson from St. Croix.
St. Croix, yeah.
Invited us all over to perform. So I was 15, and I was my first experience on a plane. So I was super excited when I saw that you were from the Virgin Islands, and I'm actually going to be going to St. Croix in a couple of weeks, so I can't wait.
I'm jealous. I just got back from St. John, so it's all good.
Really? Yes. See, I've never been to St. John, so
next time you have to go.
So I love earlier that you mentioned that the piano is in the percussion family. A lot of people don't know that. You know, they don't understand that it's because to produce sound, the hammers bang on the strings. So
exactly.
Right. So that's why it's a percussion family. So I love that you said that, because you don't hear a lot of people say, mention that. Now, you said you played the piano. Do you play any other instruments besides the steel pan?
I mean, I play other instruments functionally. I don't charge people to play other instruments. I only charge to play the steel pan. But yeah, I play piano. I play some, just enough drum set to get by. I play, the other mallet percussion vibes and marimba. But like I said, this is, the steel pan is kind of my main instrument. So.
And you play it so well. So you have a strong foundation in jazz and Caribbean music. Who are some of your musical influences?
All of them. It's so hard. It's so hard to name. My father. I mean, one of the reasons that I gravitated to jazz music, because, I mean, in the Virgin Islands, we didn't. At least I don't remember there being like a jazz radio station. I mean, there wouldn't have been really a way for me to be exposed to that music, except my father had like an amazing record collection, right? So, but the very first exposure I had to jazz was through the steel band, and the name of that band was Steel Unlimited 2. It was Steel Unlimited 2. It was under the directorship of a man named Rudy Wells. And Mr. Wells, like I said, was a pioneer on this instrument, the steel pan. And one afternoon, he started teaching us this song, right? And it was different. It was different from all the other songs we learned, right? Because we would learn like Disney songs and stuff like that. And then it's a pop music, whatever the tourists wanted to hear. But then he started teaching us this song called Spain by Chick Corea.
That's a great song.
It is, right? And it changed my life. I went home and I told my father, I was like, Pops, we're learning this song called Spain. It's da 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 da. And I started singing it to him, and it's so full of energy. And he was like, man, I have that record, Light as a Feather. And I had never even seen it. Like, I never dealt with a record before, right? Because I'm like the tape cassette generation, right? And so he got the record player out, dusted off, you know what I'm saying? Starts and put that record on. And then I started just kind of pulling them out of the crate, pull out Cannonball Adderley and Miles Davis and Stan Getz and Jack Gilberto and Hugh Masekela. And it was, Spyro Gyra and just like all of these, the perfect kind of introduction to jazz, for a young musician.
Oh yeah, Chick Corea. Oh my goodness. I went to an event and I was actually able to stand beside the piano while he played, and Alicia Keys stood on the other side. I was like, pinch me.
You're right, yeah. That's amazing.
Yes, I was trying not to fangirl out, but I was like,
right.
I was like, I'm this close to Chick Corea. So, I mean, that was pretty amazing. Well, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back, because I have lots more questions for you about your music. So we're going to take a short pause for the cause, and we'll be right back.
Let's do it.
Are you a jazz lover? If so, have we got something special for you? Presenting Tracy Hamlin's Sweet Jazz Concerts. The first concert of 2022 is Sunday, May 1st, with saxophonist Paula Atherton and the songstress herself, Tracy Hamlin, at the River Creek Country Club in Leesburg, Virginia. Sunday, May 1st at 4 p.m. For more information and tickets, visit www.sweetjazzconcerts.com.
Sponsored by the Bank of Clark.
Every great song has its own kind of vibe, just like the streets they come from.
Now all that music from across America will go head to head
On one stage. Every state and territory will compete live for your votes.
in the biggest televised music event you've ever seen.
America's next great hit.
Could come from your hometown.
American Song Contest premieres live March 21st on NBC.
Are you ready for the Tracy Hamlin Show? Are you ready for the Tracy Hamlin Show?
Welcome back to the Tracy Hamlin Show. We are here with steel panist extraordinaire, Victor Provost. So it's during the commercial break, it's just been amazing to listen and watch you play. I mean, the music is just so soothing. It gives you goosebumps. I mean, just amazing. Thoroughly enjoying. Like I said before, I've just been listening to your videos on repeat. So what was your inspiration for wanting to become a recording artist? So I know you were out there gigging at a very young age. So what was your inspiration for becoming a recording artist?
I mean, I think it was kind of those same records, right? It just goes back to like falling in love with that music on record and realizing, realizing a couple of things. It's first of all, like it took me, I guess it took me a while to kind of to find my voice on this instrument, right? And to kind of like figure out exactly how I'm going to, what I needed to say, what I wanted to say.
Right.
But then when I started finding my voice, I realized that like that's how you share your voice as a musician is through records.
Yeah, true. And it's interesting because a lot of people will be inspired just by listening, and that inspires them to want to play and gig. But I know a lot of artists who, well, actually, they're musicians that they don't want to record; they just want to play.
Right, right. Yeah, well, that's because you lose so much money making records.
Which is a mouthful right there. It's not cheap, especially when you're the record label and the bill for it all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so the different kind of layers of the industry that you can kind of peel away like an onion, and they start to reveal themselves little by little the deeper you get into into the industry. And I mean, you know this as an artist yourself, and having like dealt with the highest levels is like it's funny. I also teach. I'm a professor of music at George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. I teach this instrument, and I was having a conversation with one of my students the other day, and she's a vocalist. And she don't ask me why I'm teaching a vocal, but she said,
"No, I understand. I get it."
She said, "Why?" She said, "How do you like? So how does the record industry work? Like, how do you get signed? How do you get a record deal?" And I say, well, first of all, that's a really good question. But it depends on so many. It depends on so many things, and it depends on. Like,
there is no formula. I mean, I talk to folks all the time, and they say, "Well, you're a songwriter, or what's the formula? I want to be a recording artist. What's the formula?" Especially in 2022, there is no formula. Anything goes. You can. I mean, I always reference Little Nas X. He paid $30 for that beat for Old Town. What's the song? Old
Town Road. Yeah.
Old Town Road. And look at what happened. He paid $30 for somebody who may not have been a musician, who just programmed it.
Yeah.
And
that was it.
The rest is history. So
exactly.
There is no. No.
And whatever formula there used to be has certainly been shattered now by all of the different technologies, be it just from the internet to downloads to nobody downloads anymore. Now it's also it was streaming for a minute. Now it's not even streaming anymore. Now it's just like TikTok. So
it's TikTok.
You have a TikTok? You have a TikTok, Tracy? You have a TikTok
I do, but I have 2 or 3 TikToks. Don't go look at my TikTok page.
I'll go look at it right now.
Right. So yeah, TikTok is just a big thing. But I go to TikTok because I get great recipes.
Yeah, right.
So so for you, what are some of your biggest challenges as a recording artist?
Oh boy. I mean, self-financing the project is always it's a challenge. Finding the upfront cost of making a decent record, not just creating the album, but then like what you do with it after that. Like you create the album, now what? Now you have to get it to radio. Now you have to get it to publications. Now you have to get it reviewed. You have to get a publicist. You have to. Right, you have to do all of these things. I mean, my last album was on a record label, a well-known record label, jazz label, Sunnyside. It was a label in New York, and it kind of co-imprinted by Paquito de Rivera's. I don't know how many dozens of Grammys Paquito's won, but these are just serious people in the industry, and it was still kind of. I still had to do so much legwork. I still had to go behind and be like, emailing publicists and emailing, folks at magazines and media and being like,
I do it all the time. I'm working on 2 projects right now. And you just, you wear all those hats. But at the end of the day, when it's time for you to get paid, you don't have the middleman taking the cut.
Right, exactly. And for me, it was the most important thing was like keeping ownership of my songs, of my original music,
Right.
of my publishing, of all of that. And so, like, of course, I don't mind paying the cost up front, and I
Right.
don't mind being that wearing all of those hats. But that is a significant challenge. Is the
Yeah.
kind of the cost up front. Um, and I think just like my challenge is shared is a view that's probably shared by lots of artists in the contemporary, instrumental jazz, whatever, anything outside of the pop realm is just like
Mhm.
we kind of reckon with ourselves daily in terms of how, who's listening to this music.
Yeah.
Right, who am I making this for?
For you. And I know when I'm recording, I have to be very mindful of who my audience is. And a lot of times that's not my family, that's not my closest friends. So, those are not the people that I necessarily want to go to put their ear on it, because I have to be mindful of who's buying this music and who's buying tickets to come to the concert.
Right.
But yeah, that's really, really really interesting. So are you a songwriter as well?
I mean, I don't call myself a songwriter because I don't deal with lyrics, but I'm a composer. I compose. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So where does your inspiration come from?
all over. My last record is called Bright Eyes, and I wrote most of that music around the birth of my first daughter, um, who is 8 now. She'll be 8 in April. She's on the cover of the record, and it was a document. It was a document of that time period that I made for her. And so there's a song on there that I wrote for her. There's a song on there that I wrote for my wife. And so, like, obviously I take this kind of inspiration from the people around me, people that are meaningful to me, relationships that are meaningful to me. But it also depends on, it depends on what's going on. Like a few years after that first record, back in 2017, 2018, I wrote a suite of music. I composed a suite of music and actually produced this multimedia show with dance and projection art and all this other stuff. And all of that music was based around the experience that Virgin Islanders were having after the that double hurricane, Irma and Maria in 2017. That was so devastating to so many places in the Caribbean, but the Virgin Islands especially got hit like back to back. And so I wrote a suite of music about that, and that first piece, I don't know if the audience was able to hear it, but the piece that we opened with is entitled 1733. It's a tribute. Yeah, it's a tribute to the year of the first insurrection, the first slave insurrection in the Western Hemisphere, happened on St. John in Fortsburg in November of 1733. And wrote that in the spirit of revolution, in the spirit of rebuilding something, something better, something new.
Right. Your story is just, it's just pulling at my heartstrings. I can't wait to go listen to more of your music. Before we close out, can we just see a quick peek of your hand beside?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I had the mallet someplace. I don't know where they went.
I just want our viewers to just see a close-up look, because folks see it from the front, not from.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like, and I think my 1-year-old probably ran off with my sticks.
Wow, and it's just so beautiful and shiny. I love it. Well, you know what? Just like that, that's our time. So can you just give us your website really quickly so folks know where to find you?
For sure. It's very easy. VictorProvost.com. And then Facebook, Instagrams, all the other things of Victor Provost Music.
Thank you so much, Victor. We wish you much success. This is Star 3 Hamlin's baby girl, Tracy Hamlin, signing off. Wishing you all a wonderful evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in. See you next week, and ooches of smooches.
Are you a jazz lover? If so, have we got something special for you? Presenting Tracy Hamlin's Sweet Jazz Concerts. The first concert of 2022 is Sunday, May 1st, with saxophonist Paula Atherton and the songstress herself, Tracy Hamlin, at the River Creek Country Club in Leesburg, Virginia. Sunday, May 1st at 4 p.m. For more information and tickets, visit www.sweetjazzconcerts.com.
Sponsored by the Bank of Clark. Hey everybody, it's Tracy Hamlin inviting you to join us this Monday, March 14th.